All right, guys. Happy Friday. Sam here with you. Although it's about 1:15 for me here in Austin. Of course, we're going to get an update on Bitcoin, but we're not going to spend a lot of time on Bitcoin today. There's not a lot to talk about. I thought I'd take a spin through some of the, we'll probably look at, the top three alts. Well, I just picked them by market cap. And then if I've got time, we'll look at kind of a wild card by request. Okay, so what do we have to say about Bitcoin? We've been here for a long time. Now, one thing that happens to me, whenever I do the live streams, I get everybody's chart copy here. So often if I have to reboot, then I lose all my work. I have it on, well, of course, I have it over in Motive Wave, but I often find myself starting from scratch with Bitcoin, which is often, I think, can be a good thing. So here's as rudimentary as it can get. And so all I've done is just wicked out here, support and resistance here. It's hard not to notice this, right? So if we look at it here, and I'm just using the lowest closes here. These are all wicks here. I'm kind of loosely putting the 3 up here because we aren't going to know really which one of these pivots is the 3 until we see how we resolve here. Picking that wick, and then, if this is going to trade as an A, B, and then a C down here. Just using this. This is a candidate for the 3. We'll see if that holds, but a little overthrow. So you can see it already, right? So if I just put a channel on this, where do we sit? We are literally at perfect equilibrium, right? We couldn't be any more finely tuned here, more finely balanced. See, now of course we know that the market it moves from value or balance to imbalance, imbalance, right? So this is not hard to spot, right? Imbalance, right? Imbalance, right? And then what we do is that after we have this imbalance, then it's a search for value. Now, of course, out here on a daily time frame, you see this very differently than if you're down on the 15-minute. Which is why it's so important to pull back out here and just get some reference. Okay, what are we doing here? Is there any action really to take here? Well, from a purely technical perspective, we probably come up with 10 different counts here. But is this a spot to be taking any action? Do you have any advantage here? I mean, this is like red-black, right? So you'd be at the roulette table here. So your commission or your cost, your transaction, your spread, whatever, wherever you're trading it here is going to be your, what gives the house the edge here. So you have absolutely no advantage here. There's no reason to pursue a trade here other than this wouldn't be an unreasonable place to be just dollar cost averaging into if you're a long-term bull and you anticipate higher prices, whether it's this year, next year, 5 years from now. This is not an unreasonable place to be accumulating. We can certainly look at this, and if we think of range expansion, then contraction as we rebalance before there's any additional range expansion or imbalance that drives it higher or lower. There's a whole lot of imbalance here that we experience on the ride up that you could certainly make a strong argument that all of that imbalance needs to get filled back in, right? As to whether that happens or not. Well, of course, remains to be seen. But as we look at it, I mean, they're interesting. It's good. It's a good idea to come out to the daily every now. Let me back this up here. So let's working from the count here that seems the most obvious here. I'm trying to pull this over here so I can open it up a little bit more. Well, you can kind of see it here with Bitcoin. You could almost do the same thing down here. You could almost do this, right? Oh, if I kind of even that out there. Say, okay, well, of course, this was a bit of a black swan because we had this big, massive rip here. And I don't know if anybody, of course, I remember it very well. So we had the big pushback here, and then all of the imbalances down here. You can see it right in this candle right here. It comes back, and we refill that, right? So it's a bit of a backfill here. So, you could almost deduce from this that orders that didn't get filled here ultimately get filled here. Maybe, right? So you're always, you're trying to determine what can I extrapolate from this with regard to what I can anticipate next. The other thing that we can just look at here is that Bitcoin has a tendency to want to find, oh, here, if I do it this way, it wants to find lows. Oh, let's see if we can, I really probably say the same thing here. We want to find lows here, and then, oh, let's just draw, I mean, it's rudimentary stuff here, but it kind of makes the point here. So we get these, well, that's not what I want. I want a trend line here. Come here. We get something like this here. You could even do it like that. I'd probably do it like this. And then we get these, just these extreme drop-offs here, just as we've done here. Now, you can notice that it's not quite the same here, because you could draw the same thing here where we get, right, obviously, we've got lows down here, just as we did here. Now, if you were to look back historically, you say, oh, well, that was sure a harsh toke here, as what came off of those structural lows once they broke. Now, note here, the opportunity was there for it to do the same thing, to come up here and then crush it, or it could have been here, and then we've done it. But you could do the same thing here. Kind of. If I finish that out here, equal lows, maybe. Are we stretching here? I don't know if we're done here. But it does have this tendency, and what we can see here, unlike what's happened prior times that we get this pattern, we had the opportunity to sell off. We didn't do it. So it kind of reinforces that we're just kind of stuck in this range here. And until we get some resolution, whether it's if we need one of those breaks out of structure here, out of this consolidation here to seek new value, well, I mean, you don't have a lot until you get to here, right? There's very little support until you get down here. So if we were to do something like that, but you can certainly understand how that whales might take advantage of that, right? So, well, of course, we talked about this last week. We know that under here, there's plenty of liquidity, right? So everybody who's long, we know there's going to be a lot of liquidity down here, right? So market's going to want to, if it can do it, right? Unless bulls are just too strong for it. There's an obvious potential push to try and get that liquidity, right? So the market comes sweep the lows and then take it out, right? Which would kind of be in line with where we might anticipate the 4. Ultimately, how we count all of this, we'll have it, right? Once we resolve and we either move down or up, we'll be able to label this per rules and guidelines, right? It's the kind of thing where, would 10 Elliotticians give you the same count? They probably put the 3 and the 4 in the same place. But there are counts that have, well, we're going to look at a couple of them here that have the 4 is already in, right? It's a very valid count that would have the 4 in. And we've just gone 1, 2 of the 5th. We'll look at that in a second. I still think, but just because of the balance, right? The balance of time, length of time of the 2 to this being the 4, it's not that it's not possible. That's not how I'm trading it. I prefer to see more balance between the 2 and the 4 rather than cut it in half. And then, of course, if you're channeling here, do it this way, right? It doesn't quite, well, let's do it this way here so I can emphasize that, right? If we go to the 3, now they're separate events, right? This, right, is not connected to this channeling. Channeling is so important to the Elliott concept here that to deviate from that makes me uneasy. So I'm not prepared to put money at risk on that, because that's important to how I interpret the market as an Elliottician. Now, if I take my Elliott hat off, I can talk myself into other ways that we might approach this, but and then of course, as I've shown it so many times, I almost don't even want to put it back up here, right? This is very influential to my thinking here, because now we get everybody self-contained, right? So then take this off. Of course, we've been through this many, many, many times, right? So if we look over here as to where we have balance, then anything over here looks like a prime spot. Now, is it offered? We don't know that we're going to get that, but boy, that's where I'm loaded for bear right there. So if we get the opportunity, and of course you'd want to be mindful that if we do come down here, this is likely you're going to get a sweep. All the stops will get run. Everybody cries, and then great setup for it to rally. But we don't know, this was a shock. This was a shock. We don't know how far that could go, other than we can certainly use some of our tools, right? And say, if that's the 3, well, here's you probably got a few little decision blocks in there, a little supply that became demand here. So you could call that a demand zone here. If we're going to come down a little further, well, what are we doing? We're just going to the 38 here. certainly see how that could play. Run all of this, completely freak the market out. Everybody starts selling it, and up we go. Right. So it's a long-winded way of saying there's nothing to do here. So not going anywhere, right? So until we get out of this, there's just no reason to force a trade. Right now, of course, you can get down to you get sub 60 minute here. There's all sorts of trading going on here. But if you're keeping the bigger picture, here's what I try to do on these updates here. If you want to get more granular, there's always the live streams, or you can, of course, join us as a member, and we'll chart to your heart's content. But for these that I do over here on YouTube, I always try and get a bigger picture, and then talk a few little nuggets along the way, something that might be value to someone who's not a member or maybe considering it, and get a feel for what the experience is like as a TDU member. Let's tighten that puppy up right there. So I think we're just in a hurry up and wait here. All right, now, so if we make that deduction here that we're just at equilibrium here, and there's no particular advantage. I mean, even if we drill down here, there's no particular advantage here. Where's the trend, right? So we can see the short-term trend is down, but now we get a swing. We don't get a new low. We don't get a new high. We don't get a new low. We don't get a new high. We double bottom here. So we're just contracting until something is going to give one way or the other. So it certainly feels very much like a triangle. Well, of course, the whole thing feels like a triangle. Right? It's the frustration, right? Do something. Immediately should make you think, oh, God, we're probably in a triangle. It looks like we're in a triangle within a triangle, unless this is going to play as a flat, right, which is the other possibility, that we're just going to do this as an A, B, and I mean, certainly we could be done here. There's absolutely a very valid count that has us done here. Well, in fact, we'll look at it in a second. Oh, shit, where do I have it? Oh, do I have it here? I don't think I do. No, I don't. Okay, I may have it over in Motive Wave here, but I just wanted to kind of re-emphasize here, we are literally at equal. I mean, you couldn't, literally, it's split. You couldn't be any more neutral as to where we are in price. So before we abandon this count here, let's just give a quick visit back to our potential triangle here. Still in play. Well, there's a very valid count, gets us to a C here. Now we're going to have to do this to get up to that D. And it doesn't have to go that far, but that would be prime zone if we get up to the 618 and come, do it. Still alive, right? Now, but we've looked at that count, we've drilled it to death. So let's look at a bullish count. I'm going to bring this over here from Motive Wave. So this is for you bulls. I touched on this. Oh, here, I want to get that off there. Hang on. Oh, come here. I don't want to cross here. Okay. So here it highlights my issue with it. Issue. I just don't like. I want to see my impulses all self-contained. So 1, 2 here, and then 3 is off by itself. And so this is if I highlight this here, this is a very bullish count, and some of the best eliticians I know like this count. I don't hate it. It's just, it wouldn't shock me if this is how we come. It's just I'm not prepared to put money at risk on it. Just myself, right? And shit, if you like it, have at it. 1, 2, there's a very clear impulse in here. We would have the A, B, C into a W, X, Y. So we end up getting the 4 down here. So it plays, right? So we've looked at this as an A and a B and a potentially CDE or an ABC of a flat, but you can certainly trade this and play this and count this, label it as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and well, of course, one possibility is that let's not blow that up here. One possibility is that the 5 is in, and we've completed that impulse. That's my least. Well, let me rephrase that. I think that is least likely of all the possible scenarios here to finish with that shallow of a 5 in this raging bull. So I'm going to pull this up higher. So what would the alternate be? Well, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, well, certainly we could have another impulse in the 5th. Oh, let's see if I go to, let's go to an 8-hour here, and we'll kind of look at that real briefly here. So A, B, C into a W, X, A, B, C, right? So a lot of shit. You could get here 6 different ways. Either way, the 4 lands right here. All right. You could do it A, B, C. You could do it. Well, shit. Here we could do it. We could do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could do. Pardon me. We could do A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a C to get the 4. There's a lot of different ways here. This is just one possible scenario here to get here through W, X, Y. All right. So if we get into the 4 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. That's pretty clean. We've looked at that before. Now we're coming down. A, B could be done here. Right, we'd be coming up shy here. So, well, let's see if I draw it out, it would be, or if I just highlight the swings. So we got an impulse here. I got an A, B, C that does finish here. Now coming off of this, I could go, if I highlight that, I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got a 5 here. I mean, it's a little squish at the end of it. Here, let's go to a 4 hour and we'll take a look at it. It's a little bit of a squish to get it in, but it plays. Here, let's get you, open you up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, a little skinny. On the finish, A, B, C for the 2. So I got a 1 impulse, not my favorite impulse, right? And it's a little, oh, I'd probably actually do it that way. So I'd go 1, A, B, C into the 2, 3, 4, 5, give me the 1, A, B, C into the 2. There's another 5. I can work a 5 in that. So it would be 1, let's highlight it. 1, 2, push this off here so I can, you guys see it a little bit better as an alternate. All right, many of you, I've seen this count from members, like this count, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now we're going to truncate the C. Well, if this rips, yeah, we are going to truncate the C, if that's going to go. We're going to put the C right here and truncate it and give it the 2. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, it looks already, oh shit, let's go to a 1. Already maybe getting a decent start coming out of there. Maybe. Let's see. Oh, here, get off of there. If that's A, B, C, could we be starting with a leading diag into the 1 of the 3? We could. A, B, C into a 1, 2, A, B, C into a 3, 4. So we could have a leading diag into the 1 of the 3 at the next degree. Here, let's do it this way. So we're just trying to get into the 1, a leading diag of that 3, right? Because we've got projections up here would take us up into the 50s. Of course, you just looking at that, we could say, okay, well, how'd we do? Oh, what do I want? 2 to 1 here. So we came, oh, looks like we got just past the golden zone there. Oh, let's just check that out, actually. Looks like we we probably had a break there. Yeah, so we've gone 707 down here. It's deep. These are deep for getting any algo participation, but the Elliott count, certainly that's a valid too, right? Between the 618 and the 786, well, equal lows here. You got a nice range here. There's that range again that we talked about here. So we got all this base here, and then we've got a downsloping trend line. Now to break out of that, we got a decent target up here. You want to have multiple counts here so that you're not surprised. So if this starts to go, it's not like, holy shit, I got to abandon everything I did. Let's figure it out, right? So you're just like, oh, looks like that's going to be the 1 of the 3, and we're off we go. So worthwhile and just a good exercise to just challenge yourself. Say, okay, well, I can, there's one count that I've been kind of locked in on, and I mean, don't mean me, you, I just, in general, a trader, you get so locked in on one count and something deviates, and all of a sudden you're lost. Like, oh shit, now what am I thinking? So always good idea to at least keep us at least one alternate. And most of crypto right now, as we're in this ranging market, is open to interpretation as to how, and we're not going to know it until we get it resolved, right? Until we come out of this as to how we're going to ultimately count it. So right now it's just a projection based on what's most probable based on the swing structure that we see right now. Right? So this continues to be my primary, although this count is warming to me if we're going to get something significant here. So if we're going to get it, now would be the time to push away so we leave the triangle behind and get back into something more impulsive. Let's bring this back down over here. All right, we've done this to death here. So let's, oh shit, what else do I have here? Let's go to Ethereum. All right, so I've got this a couple of different places. So give me a sec here where I remember where everything is. Okay, so I've got 2 counts on it. We'll look at it both here in TradingView as well. So this is the count I've had here, and this came from a similar experience where all my work got blown out here, and then someone asked me for an Ethereum chart, and I just often, what happens when that's the case and you lose all the subdivision here, you just pull back and you go out to the big picture and say, well, what looks most likely is going on here? Well, of course, I'm very, very similar to Bitcoin. Most of crypto, not all of it, most of crypto. COVID low, big rip. Oh, let's get that off because it kind of screws us up when we're in log scale. 1, 2, 3. Now let's zoom in there. Okay, could be that's an A, could be that's a B, and we're working through a 1, 2, 3. This looks very triangle. Come down for the 4, tag the median line. 4 is in, up we go. Essentially, it's just another big sideways congestion here, a little overthrow, much like we just looked at in Bitcoin, right? We're just in a range, right? So what do you do here? It's got essentially the same, it's damn near, right? Exactly the same. Right dab, smack dab in the middle, right? No particular edge, right? Which is all we can hope for, is to get some edge, at least in our own mind, as to whether or not we actually have an edge. You got to believe you have an edge, or you're not going to take the trade. Well, if you do, then you're just gambling, right? You might as well say heads I buy, tails I sell. But you got to believe you've got an edge. Sitting right here at equilibrium, I don't think anyone has an edge here, other than you could make the case that the long-term trend is your edge, right? The trend is up. So anytime you're a buyer, well, you could think of it this way. Another way to think of it. We could say anything below the 50, this is discount. Anything above the 50 here is a premium. Let's change that color. We'll put it in green. Right? So if you're buying down here, at least we're buying prices on discount. On sale down here. Full retail up there. So as we sit right in the middle, do you have any advantage? No, you don't. All right, let's look at that. Let's look at that triangle here, because it's on the verge of breaking down here. So per this count, we're still trying to complete a 4. Now this structure here is, anybody's guess, right? This could be interpreted multiple different ways, right? You get that liquidation wick, it kind of monkey in the wrench as to how you'd count that here. But if it's going to play as 1, 2, you almost want to ignore it. But 1, 2, 3, because you can certainly see an impulse in that third. A couple of different ways you could count it, but just the broader strokes of it here, we got to find a 1 somewhere. Oh, it's so ugly up here. Oh, it could be an ABC. We'll look at that count in a second. But if this is 3 and we're working on the 4 here, well, of course, right off the bat, if I get this here, right, just to be consistent, part of the reason I don't love this count is look at how much time this is taking here relative to this 2. Not a deal breaker, so I keep the count. But if this goes on much longer, I'm mindful of the fact that there are alternate counts here. So as it sits right here in this little triangle, let's go to the 4 hour here. Do we have the right conditions here? Okay, well, if this is going to be 3, 4, and we're gonna hold this as you can see the final impulse in the third coming down. Okay, well, I can go A, B, C into a B. That works. 3 into a C. A, B, C into a D. Now, I got to do this through this swing structure here of an A, a B, and then I get this very clear impulse here. We're coming right up into a supply zone here, but as you'll note here, we've already broken structure of the triangle with this move right here. So if this is going to pause, if this supply zone here is going to bring prices back down, well, that's the spot where you'd expect it. What you don't want to do this, right? We don't want to necessarily do that because we have such good trend line structure here. So ease, underthrow, overthrow, you can allow for some of that here, but if we get past this supply zone here, then this count is off the table. And then you'd have to look at that and say, well, how else could I count this? Oh, well, let's bring this over here. So here it is, as I have it in Motive Wave. Okay, very, very similar. 1, 2, here's COVID low. We got all the subdivision here to give us a nice 3. Now, A, B, C, could we be doing D, E here? Right, now we're tracking the Bitcoin triangle. Well, let me zoom in there a little bit so let's go to an 8 hour, see that a little bit better. Okay, so WXY into an A, ABC into a B. Now here this gets a, oh, I guess maybe we'll go a little bit down to, let's go to 6. Put this in green here so we see it a little bit better. Okay, so I could go ABC into a W, ABC into an X. Now here I'm accommodating the fact that there's a clear impulse here. I have a little data gap there. I'm not sure why that is, but AB 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the C gives me a Y. So I've got a W, WX, Y into a C. Now I can go 5 into an A, 3 into a B. Now I can, yet again, I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would give me a potential D here. Let's get it to highlight. Right, so we'd come into a D. We're just like Bitcoin. We've been looking at this for weeks now. We know the most probable location for that for that D relative to the B is going to be 618, golden zone, which would be in line with all the structure right here, all these equal highs right here. So you could anticipate, come up here, run all the stops, bring it back down. So you'd be getting here, just as we looked in Bitcoin, through a diag, right? So is this 1, 2, ABC into a 1, ABC into a 2, ABC into a 3. We're going to try and get there through a diag. An ending diag, A, B, ending diag into the D. It's a contender, right? 3 into the Y right now. So once again, look where we are here, right at equilibrium. Right. So would there be any advantage here of being a buyer? Well, you'd be playing into the idea that we're going to push higher here into the D. But your retrace is going to bring you back. So this would be your shorter term trading here. You'd look to take some profit here. Maybe you short it, maybe not, right? Depends on how aggressive you are playing up and down. But there's more to resolve here before you're going to get any particular advantage. Just sitting right in balance, right at equilibrium. All right, so Ethereum not doing much more than Bitcoin. No surprise here that they're going to be so tightly correlated. What else did I have? Shit. Here it is. I think that's it. Nope, that's not it. I could swear I had it. Here, hang on a second. Oh, I know I do have it. Oh, Jesus, I could have sworn it was right there. Oh, God, I'm going to have to edit that. Oh, here it is. Okay, no, maybe I don't. Okay, now that I got it. All right, coming back here. Advantage of editing. We already had one edit. Okay, let's look at BNB. So again, all I did was, come over here. Let's bring this over here. I just went to this. I used Mazari here. Top 3 by market cap. Okay, Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB. All right, after Tether. Just said, okay, let's look at the top 3 and see if there's a big difference between any of them. Push you off here and get motive way back. Okay, so here we look here. So this is another good example here. You see this consistently. So we've got 1, 2, right? Nice 3 here. Now you could do this a couple of different ways. So this would be tracking the way we're currently labeling Ethereum and Bitcoin. So we've got an ABC into a W, ABC into an X, ABC into an ABC, right? So possibly we're going to go WX. The A is in. We're working on the B. We need one more down to give us that ABC to come in here at the 23.6 to match the WXY. So essentially we're going flat. Same concept here. If I can fatten this up. That's what we're doing. We're in balance, right? There's no aggressor. Right, we're just going sideways. Sleepy time. Right, nothing to do, which is annoying if you're a trader. It's really annoying because you come into the day and say, hey, I'm a trader. What am I going to do? What am I going to buy? What am I going to sell? Well, the reality is that often the best trade is no trade. Right, you don't want to trade without any edge. If you think you've got an edge in here, well, it's going to be down on the shorter term, right, where I think your edge... I'm going to say it this way. There's edge reduction with every time as you go down in time frames. Right? You stay out on it daily. As soon as you go from the daily to the 8 hour to the 6 hour. Every time you go down, the odd reduction increases because the lower the time frame, the more directly you're competing against the machines. And you can't beat the machines. Nobody can. So why do you want to try and trade against them? Well, if you're a day trading specialist, which I do a lot, well, of course, you've got to spend a lot of time, right? I mean, it's years and years and years to become good at day trading, in my view, right? My view, taking me years. Otherwise, you come out to a bigger picture like this, and we can see, certainly as an Elliottician, whether you're an Elliottician or not, we can certainly see range, we can see trend, we can see contraction. We see all of it. Right? Shit, the Vegas wave will show it to you. When they're on top of each other, we're going sideways. Right? We're going up. Now we're going sideways again. So the top three are all sitting at perfect equilibrium. Top three by market cap. So it made me think, well, okay, of that list, working down the list after BNB, and I got XRP, Terra, and then Solano. So I said, well, Solano has been so popular. Let's see how that's looking here. I think I have it. So this is the one that got away. Let's get this off of here. All right, so this is what Bitcoin, Ethereum, and BNB hope to do when they grow up. Well, I shouldn't say it that way, but I'm being silly. All right, so what I'm trying to show you is that here, right, that we all hit this. They all hit this at the same time, right? Summer of 21. So this was all everybody hit this same consolidation at the same time. All right, so if you looked at here, right? So they all BNB, right? Same time, right here. Right, but we didn't get out of the woods there. Right, we stayed in this range. Well, Solano got right out of there. So this is an interesting count because you've got to look for an extra 1, 2 because at first glance when you bring it up on a daily, it looks like you did a 3. So you have to dig in a little bit here. So there is a little 1, 2 there, but then it's where are my 5s, where are my 3s, right? So there's a lot of triangles in this. But 1, 2, 3, 4, it looks like I can get up here to a 5 to give me a 3. Sideways into the 4. Do it in a triangle. A, B, C, D, E into a triangle. Up extension in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I checked that 5 is not longer than 3. Although to your eye, it looks like, oh, whoa. Is 3 the shortest there? It's not, right? It distorts a little bit because we're in log scale, because we need to be in log scale, because that's out of log scale. So this is a good example of what I'm talking about with the channel. So I want my impulses to all be contained with Elliott channeling, right? It's one of the cornerstones of the entire methodology. So when I see counts, and I get a lot of these, right, from members that are new that do this, or, right, that's never, well, has there ever been a count labeled that way that actually played that way? Probably, but that's not what we're looking for, right? That's the abnormal. We want to stay with, okay, what can I see a self-contained impulse here? Yeah, I sure can, right? So now it's pretty obvious to see the change in the swing structure. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that if we've completed this impulse that we now have to come back 50%. Oh, if it were going to, boy, what a ripe spot for it. We come back into the 3, 4 here. Now we don't have to come down that far, but if you're thinking, oh, this range down here, so right now we really don't have much. I mean, it looks like it's all self-contained, right? So it's kind of the same thing. Oh, I got 2 of them here, but looking kind of like we're just doing this. So at what point do we know that this is over? Oh, here, let's draw the swing structure here. So, here, just to keep it simple, there's a retrace, new low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Now, right? Where are we? Right? We're not done yet. So we're stuck between this last low that we put in here and this last high that we put in here. Right? So we're just now ideally, right, to make this easier for us to trade, we'd like to see something more significant here to say, oh, hey, well, this piece of the correction has now ended because I get a change in my swing structure here. So here's a break of structure, change of character, however you want to call it. This is lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. All of a sudden, something changes here. So we're looking for that next move up. But per the correction anticipation, we'd be looking for something more like that. Now, if Solana is going to do that, what's happening across the broader crypto market? If the one that resisted the range here, right, you can get yourself into trouble trying to overthink it. You got to just trade what you see. So the rest of crypto did this, right? And now we're here, right? So the one that broke free now all of a sudden has started its correction. Well, could we be done here? Well, of course, anything's possible. Anything is possible. But boy, does that look like it's done? Well, I should at least get to 38. I'd like it a whole lot better down here, right? Come back into this consolidation, which was the range, right, that we were in that led to, here's equilibrium breakout. Now we're trending. Now we've gone from now. Do we come back here and retest all of this structure here? So we'd hope to get here in this kind of fashion, right? So then it's not confusing. Oh, what the hell is it? Is that really what we have there? Well, we can dig into this count a little bit more, but I'll tell you what we don't see here. What we can all agree is we don't see what we'd like to see, which is a nice clean 3. All right, we're seeing just a drift lower and potentially now. Oh, I suppose we could dial into some of this here. We've got, we probably got a little demand block in there, right? So, here, just keep it simple without getting complicated. Let's bring that over. It's not over complicated here, so let's bring that back. Bring it over. All right, so we can see, so this little pocket here, this little pause here, continuation, demand zone here as we paused before we went up. Is that possibly came out of here pretty fast, right? Are we coming back here? Support. Are there any resting orders here that didn't get filled that would take that up towards the B right now? Are we going to get a new high? If not, you'd anticipate the ABC, right? That gives us the structure we're looking for. Market doesn't have to do anything, right? Market's going to do what it's going to do. This is just how we can address the market here, looking for, I recognize that there's a pattern that's prone to repeat. But what I have here, I'd have lower low, lower high, lower low. So that just, you hear me say this all the time. Wait, get some. Okay, do I have the potential for that swing structure to change? All of a sudden, higher high. How am I doing on time? Okay, it's 25. I guess it's going to be a short one today. There's just not much to do, right? Everything's sitting at perfect equilibrium. There's one, oh shit, now I got to find it. It's not there. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this was by request, but it's kind of the same idea. Let me pull it by here. So one of my members and I have taken a bite in here. He's in much bigger than I am. But as I reached out to him this morning. I said, I'm looking for ideas because there's not much to say about Bitcoin, ETH, BNB. Everything's just sitting at perfect equilibrium. And this is one we can look at here just real quickly because it's kind of the same idea. So let me pull out to an 8-hour. This is the graph. I'm not going to try and attempt to get into any of the fundamental story here. If you are not familiar with this cryptocurrency, I would encourage you to do a little digging. This is a compelling story. If you like a good story, and so there's lots of potential here. So I just stripped it bare. I just have the 233 on, so we can just see, okay, right, so let's keep it as drop dead simple as we can. Okay, where's price relative to the 233, right? So if we just want to, okay, above or below, well, we just tagged it. But if we come back into this area, now here, let me get rid of that. Here, kind of. Let's see, do we need to be in log here? I don't know that we do. I don't think we do. Okay. So we just literally tagged the 233. So we're kind of in this same swing structure here. This is a little demand zone here. I just wicked that off to see, did we tag something down here? Okay, right. So similar, right? It's not hard to identify the trend here. Right? So even if you didn't have the 233, again, let's keep it drop dead simple. Swing, retrace, lower high. That leads to lower low, lower high. Right now, I get a little bit of a pop here. It's equal highs, right? Lower low, lower high, 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 double bottom, right? So all of a sudden, this trend that we've been in all the way down here, that just here I can do it this way, right? It's one advantage of coming out of log scale. I love to use a regression channel, right? So there I am, 2 standard deviations on either side. Okay, I got out of this, so maybe I'm out of the downtrend jail, but oh man, banged my head right at the front gate, right on the 233. All right, let's dig in there a little bit lower here and say, okay, is there enough here to maybe I've got to start on something here, because we have a change of character. Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Right? Doesn't get there, right? Up into equal highs, down we come. Now, doesn't do it. Right, so, I've heard it said this way, which I kind of like, and so I've started using. If we get a pivot here, if we get a swing that gives us a retrace here, we get this. Each one of these swings, they have a job to do, and that per the swing structure, and that's to create a lower low, right? It does it, right? So this one does its job, gives me a low. This one, right, prevents me from a break of structure here. I get a new low, retrace. Now, this one, I don't get it. So I get all of a sudden, right here, I get a change of character. Up we go. So potentially now we have the start on something. Now, could we put an Elliott count on that? Well, it sure looks like a 3. But if we're going to just get started here, remember that commonly when we're putting in a pivot to change trend, it's the reason that we so typically find diagonals at these locations, because the market is wrestling with the turning the big ship around to turn the trend around. So thus we get so much overlap here as the market tries to deal with that to get the new trend established. So this could certainly be labeled as an ABC, right? Or what else are you going to call it? So that certainly could be a 1 of a diag, ABC into a 2 of a diag. Now, this may not be done yet. 3, 4, 5, right? Well, 4, of course, is going to need to come down and overlap the 1 if that's going to hold as a 1. So this level becomes important to us. Here, let's change that. Go to white here. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. It looks like that's an impulse here. So this potentially is just starting here as an A, B, C, right? We need that fully fleshed out. Let's get that. Let's get over to yellow here so we can see that. So is that a candidate here now to potentially turn the ship around? Well, it's got a long way to go. Long way to go. What's the first thing it's got to do? It's got to deal with that resistance that's right there. Well, of course, the algos will be in here, right? We know that. So let's just pick it apart. Okay, so we'll always start. What's the dominant, right? Come here. What did I do there? I got on the wrong side. Let's try again. Actually, let's do essentially a double top. So let's see how we look here. Okay, now let's just start bringing them down. This is exactly what you want to do. Okay, how do we look here? Well, I got the 50 here. I did not get to target. How about here? Did I get golden zone? Well, here I'm at the 50. Can I come any lower? Golden zone. Now, that's a secondary pivot. So my first thought would be to check and see, did the algo use it? Right? Do I want to lean into something the algo didn't use? And looks like it may very well have. It did, right? So do you see why I would focus on that? Because the algorithm used it, right to target. Right? So I know it used it. So this becomes a pivot that I'm interested in because it was used, right? So the algo is sitting right there. Okay, so we come back to this and you say, okay, well, you would do it one at a time, right? So you'd start with this one, right? So hits the 50, this is a great example. Hits the 50, doesn't get to target. What happens, right? So now we come up and break. Now, you wouldn't immediately then think, oh, trend change. You're going to go to the next one. That broke. The potential was there. So here, I have to draw it here. So with that break, the potential there was this to come back, hit that 50 or golden zone, and then go. But it doesn't do it, right? Can't even get a new high. So now you have to keep going. So now you'd go to the next one. What happens here, right? So now here's what you're, right? The algorithm at this point is ignoring all of this. It's just going to the last high to the last low. What do I get? I don't even get to the 50, right? And I definitely don't get to target. So now I'm down here at the lowest low from a pivot that I know it used, and I've just gone golden zone as I hit the 233. Do you see how you're kind of piecing it together? Oh, holy shit. Right? But it takes a little time to get there and say, why did that stop there? That's always the question. Why did it stop there? Is it the 233? Why not the 200? Is it the golden zone? Is it a supply zone? Here, it's probably an order block sitting right there. All right, is that potentially here what we just bumped into? Oh shit, let's see if we got anything lower. Well, we probably have to go down a little bit, but you got an imbalance there. If nothing else, you can just see it right here. Market moved pretty fast right here, so we've got a little imbalance. Just so we come back here and pivot. So why? Why did we stop there? Software. That's why. Okay, so if that's potentially now the pivot of my A, so 1, 2, A, B. Okay, well this is all meaningless unless I get this, right? So I can stay with the idea that I've got a diag. And then it's all meaningless if I don't get this, right, to come back here and overlap that 1. Right, and then I need this. Right, so all of this here is just a process of kind of looking through, okay, is the Elliott count here really obvious? No, it's not. Do I need the Elliott count to start putting together a trade? No, I don't. You don't. It's only there to add value. It's not there to lean entirely on. If it's not adding value, don't use it. We can trade this just with geometry, swing structure, and the fibs. Right? There's no. It's not essential that we get an Elliott count on there. Other than if you develop a skill set with it, it can give you some guidance as to potentially where we're headed, based on the fact that these are patterns that repeat because people do the same thing over and over and over again. Could that have been a truncated 5? Maybe. Right, but truncation is you want to go there. That's last resort, not first place to go. Oh, see, you wouldn't want to talk yourself into this. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'll just go with the truncation, and this is my 1. Could that be the story? It could be, but that's not how you want to approach putting money at risk. Let's be very definitive. Let's be sure that at least in our mind, we think we have an edge. And then look at the chart. Okay, so think of it this way. So the market, we've talked about this many times. Every pivot, right, is a magnet because there are stops there. Right, every retail trader is taught, right? If you take the swing, even it retraces here, you're going to put your stop right above the pivot, That's why every pivot is a target. So when they can't get a target like this, if they can't get there, there's a reason. Because if it was the path of least resistance here is to go get those stops and just keep going. But they can't get them. Bulls, not letting it happen, right? So the opportunity. So it's a perception of value. Bulls see value. You can certainly talk yourself into this just being a range, right? Now, can we get out of this range? I've got a foundational start on it. Oh shit, there's probably a set of median lines in here as well that we could work with. Am I right on that? A little bit of a tickle back to the median line. We could come deeper on that. This could go further, right? There's nothing says this could be, oh shit. That could be 3, 4, right? There's another kick in that to get up to give you the fifth here of that A before we come down for the 1, 2, 3 of the B to get to the C, to get to the 3, to get to the 5. Now, the farther this goes, not necessarily good news because we need the 4 to come all the way back down, right? So if you were trading that as a diag, if you get up here, maybe put a little pocket money in your pocket here because you're anticipating a very deep retracement if it's going to hold as a diag, right? Just some of the, I mean, there's an example of where the Elliott wave can be helpful. If this is going to play as a bunch of 3s getting out of here in the structure of a 5, well, if I get this and I'm thinking B, C, well, if I get right here, I know my 4, if that's going to hold, I'm anticipating that's coming all the way back. That's coming all the way back to get me. All right, what's right there? Golden zone. Do you see how it kind of just when the trade is right, it will kind of fall in place almost magically. You'll be sitting here going, "Oh, if I get that right, and if that's the ABC, and if I put the median lines on it, and then it comes back down into 3, holy shit, I'm at the golden zone." Those are the trades where they just kind of fall in your lap, and you're like, "Holy shit!" Now, don't sit here with a limit order, because nothing says it can't do that. Now wait, get a little reaction. What do I get something here? Are we reacting to maybe a demand zone here? Let's get a little reaction here. Okay, now this, I mean, it's the #1 killer of trading in trading, right? They're overly optimistic about the upside, and they're they allow way too much risk on the downside, right? So I'm something like that. There's 5 to 1. Now, here's the reality. You're going to get stopped out way more than you're going to hit this. Way more times, right? It's just the nature of trading, right? You're going to get stopped out more often when you have a tight stop like that, but these are tiny little stops. Because one, you're going to get that. If you're consistent, if you do this consistently, I promise you, if we go through a gazillion examples of this, you're going to get one of those. Now, that's going to offset all those little losers in there, and this is actually what makes trading so hard for those that are new to it. Because you've had all these little stop outs here. So all of a sudden you get a winner and you're like, oh shit, okay, look at that. I'm up X dollars. Oh, whew. Man, I was 4 losers in a row. Okay, so now here I'm right at break even. Okay, I'm back to even there. Or I've reduced the loss. So they just take it. And they don't ever let it get to target because they're so consumed with trying to recover the loss. So they get maybe a 2 to 1 here instead of a 5 to 1. And you need the 5 to 1 math to work out for all the times that you took that little loser. If you just keep taking these at 2 to 1, the math's not working for you. And the fact that you nailed that trade, you did it to yourself because you didn't let it go to target. Now, it's not absolutely guaranteed that we're getting there. But you gotta take the risk that it's going to. Now, if there's an obvious spot like this, as you're coming into the resistance that we just drew, well, okay, either tighten your stop so the potential impact isn't as severe, or put a little in your pocket. Take 30-40% off here. Because let's assume we get here. Let's just assume that trade that plays out. Okay, well, you got your 5 to 1. What are you anticipating next? Right, if that's going to complete, all we've done is just complete our 1 wave. We've just got our 1 wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, shit. Well, you get my point. Now, I'm just looking for the next entry zone. Okay, let's get it up here. Here, let's do it this way. Let me go to, oh, shit. What do I want here? Okay. How about if we look at it this way? Anything below the 50, we looked at this before, right? We're on sale. Anything above the 50, we're paying retail. So when it gets up here, so if we get this and we get here, if this is where it gets attractive, right? The pricing gets better because, oh, hey, I'm on sale here. Oh, well, here, oh, I'm 60% off here. I'm 78% off here. I'm 87% off here. This is the value area, right? That's how larger players are going to look at this. Oh, if I can buy it down here, look at my upside. Not only does your upside increase, but your risk reward is better. And I'm buying down here in the discount zone instead of buying at the premium zone. Now, that's always going to be, there's going to be challenges and nuance to that. If this were an impulse and you got this here, right? Now you'd be trading above the 50, right? So that's Elliott specific. There's got to be a good reason for that, but you could interpret it this way, right? Because if that's going to go as a 5, you're going to get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Now I'm going to make it simple here just to make the point. But do I not have the exact same thing here? Where I want to be buying in the discount zone down here, 1, 2, even though I'm coming up. Well, here, think about the swing structure. Low, here, I get a little change here. I get a lower high. Oh, lower low. Wait a second. Oh, that could be my 4, right? Let's just assume we're talking about an impulse. Now I got, oh, all of a sudden here, I got maybe a potential change of character. I get a retrace into the discount zone. That's there. It's threatening a higher high. Remember, this pivot's here's job is to produce a new low. If it can't do it, right? Because we know if there's a pivot sitting there, every trader on the planet is looking to run the stops there, right? If they can, they will. If they can't, bulls are in charge. Now you're buying in the discount. Your risk reward is infinitely better buying down here. And look at the upside here. Now we're going to get the 5. See, it's just the same thing repeating over and over and over and over again. Try and simplify. Don't complicate. I get new members come in. They send me counts that are, I mean, it's a great flexing of your Elliott knowledge, but I think sometimes it just gets so complicated. You're down to the word, oh fuck, I can't get the 3 or the 5 or the 4 or the 6 or the 7. I can't get it to work, so I can't take the trade, and the fucking thing takes off on you. Don't overcomplicate it to where you're at paralysis of analysis. If you see the thing, let that little setup trade, and then you take. And the other thing that happens here is this is so much less stressful than if you did something like this, like, oh, I got to give it plenty of room. Or how about this? Oh, I'm not even going to use a stop. Oh, well, okay. Well, if it draws down, then I'm an investor now. I'm a long-term hodler. But why? Why do you do that to yourself? If it breaks that pivot, then the guys that were after it win, right? You lose. You lost that spread as long as you didn't do something stupid. There's just never a reason to do it, right? These are self-inflicted wounds. I have more people come to us saying, well, I was in it and I moved my stop, or I didn't have a stop. And it's just not that complicated. That's not brain surgery. That is just, okay, risk reward. That's the name of the game here. All right, I rambled long enough. Okay, guys, plenty to bite on there. All right, so I guess we covered 3, 4. Oh, we got a little sidetracked here on the graph, but this is one to, I encourage you to do a little digging if you're looking for an alt that has an interesting story with some great potential. One to look at, yes, I'm long, so I'm not above a little pumping of a coin, it's not pumping, right? I mean, here's why I'm in it, right? So there's a good story, and someone whose opinion I value encouraged me to take a look at it. So I'm in. All right, with all of that, I guess we'll wrap here. So members know I'm working on a new course, which is coming. I'm hoping to have it out next week. That's why I've been less visible in the Discord, because I'm nonstop on that. We're working on it all weekend. There's probably going to be 2 parts to it here, sort of the knowledge base, and then it'll split. There'll be the knowledge base here, and then one direction will go towards Ninja. The other direction we'll be able to accommodate those that don't use Ninja or don't trade anything but crypto. We'll have a solution for TradingView, so we'll cover both. But first, let's get the knowledge base established, and we've got some. As you guys know, that we have a division of the company that just focuses on the futures market, and we build indicators for Ninja traders. So there will be a set of indicators for applying this, and then we'll look for some solutions in TradingView as well. All right, there you go. Probably bored you to death. Okay, guys, there you go. Have a good weekend. I am back on Monday for a live stream. If the course is done, we'll get back to Monday, Tuesday. If not, we'll just stay to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. All right, guys, have a good weekend. Talk